Hi, this is May.
And I'm Joy.
Welcome to the QWERTY Writing Life Podcast, where we have candid chats about our creative lives.
May and I are friends, writers, and creatives who want to share our endeavors out loud.
On this podcast, we're here to encourage each other, and you too,
and share tools we've discovered or made up.
So you can follow your passions with a little support. So grab your tea
or your coffee,
and let's get started. Hello, everyone. It's another week, and we are happy to be back with you. This is now November. Yay! We're really excited about that. And November is traditionally known as the month of thanks. So we wanted to participate in that. And that is why our topic for today is thanks for the motivation. Before we get into that, let's talk about our creative weeks. Joy, what'd you do?
So my creative little tidbit from the week actually ties in really well with thanks. And that is because my sweet critique partner, May, sent me some little snippets from some critiques that we had done for each other a while back. And they brightened my day. These little bits from our critiques just reminded me of how far we've come together, how much we've done together, everything from the constructive tips that were in them to just the funny little anecdotes or that made me laugh or, whatever. It just made me so thankful for our partnership. And so I loved getting to look at all of those.
And I loved finding them again. It had been quite a while since we had done that particular critique. And I got to revisit the story, and I got to revisit the Joy's comments and just the lines where she was like, oh, this line is the best. And I would like reread the line and I would, I'm so excited about this again. And this story kind of took a bit of an emotional turn for me, and to be able to revisit that critique and to just have that passion like stoked for that story again was such a blessing for me as well. And so thanks for doing the original, Joy. And thanks for writing a book about critique partners with me so we can actually revisit these. I hope that all of the gratitude can be heard and felt in everything that we do today. So, Joy, I think you have our first one. Would you like to go?
Okay, certainly. So first off, I want to thank all of my editors over the years. I have learned so many, many lessons from them. I've had some incredible editors. Paul South, Steve Cox, Beth Bunch, and Matt Guthrie. Those were at two different newspapers, one in the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, one in Hattiesburg, and I learned amazing things from them. Each one of them saw something in me that looked promising to them. I don't really know what that was, but they seemed to see it, and they pushed me to be that thing. They pushed me to be better. Even the editors who weren't as positive as those guys were, every single one of them taught me invaluable lessons that have shaped me into the writer I am today. So I will forever be thankful for all of them.
And in the same way of somebody like inspiring you and encouraging you and shaping you, I had a high school teacher. Her name was Miss Whiting, is Miss Whiting potentially still, and she encouraged me for the first time as far as poetry goes. Mm-hmm. So we had this big poetry project, and it was like gather all of these poems and do illustrations, put them into this notebook, and then we even had like a poetry reading, and it was just such an encouraging, safe place where I was able to grow in confidence and commitment to poetry, and I just am so thankful. And guys, I did try to locate Miss Whiting. I cannot remember her first name, so if you know Miss Whiting from Theodore High School, from Theodore, Alabama, if anyone knows how to get in touch with her, either on social media or knows her first name, or she got married, I think, too. So I don't know if Miss Whiting is her married name or her maiden name. I'm so confused. Guys, I would love to be able to say thank you to her, but she was so integral to where I am today.
It's amazing. Love that. So on the theme of teachers, so May and I both went to William Carey University, and I double majored in English and journalism there, and two of my English professors were the ones that just really sparked some things in me. And one was Dr. Rebecca Jordan, and one was Dr. Allison Chestnut. And Dr. Jordan would sit down in her office for writing conferences with every single student, and she gave the best advice and encouragement. She would take something that we had written and she would have notes on it, ways that we could improve, and she also did multiple intelligence projects, and that was my first glimpse at that. I had never experienced anything like that before in a class, and I thought that that was the coolest thing because those helped me learn and see things in new ways. Talk about creativity, right? Then Dr. Allison Chestnut. So we can call her Allison now because we're no longer students, but it does feel weird that she has become an incredible friend. She has been a supporter and promoter of my dreams and my writing since I first shared with her about my press, about my dreams for that, and my first published short story, and then the novel, and with every step she has just been a huge promoter of that. She's been very encouraging, and the biggest thing was she believed in me. And I think that I was just so taken aback that someone, even before she had read any of the stuff, she was like, this is the best thing ever and you're gonna rock this. And she believed in me. That was just mind blown, incredible. And she really kind of pushed me to just continue with following those dreams and making them a reality. So thank you, Allison.
She's on my list too.
Oh.
So thanks to Allison for teaching me and for critiquing me and for seeing potential in me before I even really saw it fully. And so 2 years ago, I finished my first poetry chapbook. And I went to a poetry reading hosted by the Language and Literature Department at the school that Allison teaches at. And afterwards, I told her that I would really, really love it if she read my stuff. And Allison is an amazing poet and a beautiful creative nonfiction writer, just stuff that you are really intimidated showing her your things because it's just her stuff is so good. So I was really nervous about it, and she asked me if I had a copy with me, and I had one in my car, so I went to go get it, and I thought I would just hand it to her, and she may or may not read it. She may or may not call me, that sort of thing. But we actually found a lobby on campus that had a couch, and she sat right there, down on that couch right then, and she read every single word of my poetry chapbook with me. I saw her true reaction. I got her comments. I ended up having to go get a pen somewhere and so I could take notes. But it was just such a moment for me that she not only did she read my stuff, but she sat down right then and there and took time out of her day to humor me, I guess. And that was so precious to me, and that wasn't the beginning of my appreciation for Allison, but it sure did daggum solidify it, I guess, is a way that you could say that. She also has this amazing ability to make things happen. So she throws whatever she has at her disposal toward people to accomplish things that she believes that they can do, and that their dreams that she believes in, she just tries to make them happen. And that's such a generous thing to do. So Joy and I started this podcast, and what does she do but arrange our first speaking gig? We wrote a book together, and she edited it, and she brought us new ideas to consider. Sometimes I get hungry, and we go to lunch. I'm just so thankful for her and for her friendship, which honestly feels a lot like family lately, and I'm just so happy about that.
Love that. And I love that you guys get to be close together, and I get to come and visit you, and then I can see both of you at the same time. It's wonderful. All right, so the next person on my list is another big dreamer, Joanna Penn. Okay, if you are a writer, then you have heard this name. Joanna Penn is absolutely incredible. She is one of our mentors who doesn't know that we exist. But we have learned so much from her because she is one of those people who was in a job that she was not happy in. And she said, you know what, I'm not going to stay in this. So she had a dream and she went for it. And so she makes every bit of that sound so possible. And because of her inspiration, she makes me work for even my biggest dreams, the things that I think there's no way I'm going to actually achieve this. When I think about her and when I listen to her, I think, well, maybe. Because Joe did it and I can do it, or I can at least work toward it. And so I love to listen to her. She has the podcast, The Creative Pen with a double N, and she has her blog and her emails, and everything that she produces is just packed full of great information, stuff that has helped us in so many ways. And we are very indebted to her for all of the lessons that she has taught us.
It's true. Joanna is goals, basically, and she's on my list as well. So we'll just keep following up there. She has found solutions for every obstacle that has hit her in the publishing world, and she shares those solutions with everybody. She doesn't hold back. She's so generous with her knowledge, and she is a positive light in the creative spaces. She's a visionary who prepares now for future opportunities and makes all of this feel doable somehow by offering practical advice either from her own experience or from someone else who she admires. And for all of these reasons, I just want to throw a huge thank you out to Joanna Penn.
The next on my list are my other critique partners. So you guys know that May is a critique partner. We are critique partners, obviously, we've written a book on it. But I also have 3 other critique partners, Kelsey Atkins, Devin Harry, and Tari Cox. And they are 3 absolutely incredible ladies. They are super encouraging. They're always there for me when I'm lost or need a little advice. Plus, they write the most amazing words, guys, and it's just been an absolute pleasure to get to read their words as they've written them, to cheer along with them as they have reached milestones, as things have happened in their lives, and also, we can sympathize with one another when things don't go well. We're shoulders for each other, and so I'm so thankful for those ladies. They're pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. I want to say thank you to my believers and brainstormers too. So I don't have another critique partner. Joy is my only critique partner. But I have so many people around me they just believe in me. They believe in my writing, and they also can sometimes brainstorm with me to help me find the solutions to problems that I'm having. So the first one, of course, is my husband. I've spoken about him before. His name is Brent. He's amazing, and he's so stinking cute. And he doesn't write, and he doesn't read the genres that I write in. However, when I have plot holes, when I have questions, when I have these moments of self-doubt, he is right there, and he is ready to help. And I am so thankful that I have a husband who loves me that much, and that I love him as much as he loves me. Probably more. He would say no, but I think I love him more. I also have Mary Catherine Brown, who is my sister, who has been an integral brainstormer for the All the Words books. And she is beautiful and vibrant and wonderful. And she doesn't write, but she is extremely creative. She is musical. She has painting and art skills that I just would dream of having. She's so brilliant. She does math. It's amazing. So I'm just so proud to have her on my team. My brother has been a creative his entire life. So he is a vocal performer, and he has a full-time job as well, but he sings with like at the Atlanta Opera, and he does all of these like professional things, and then he also has time to converse with me about our podcast and have such wonderful things to say about our podcast and my writing, and how he's watched me grow from this little baby writer and this little baby creative to something even more. And I am so thankful that he has cared enough to follow that journey. And my mother is another one. She's one of my believers, and she's also a brainstormer too. So she not only loves the whole creative process, whenever we were writing the first draft for Finders Keepers, she kept my kids so we could do that. And then afterwards, Joy and I like met with her, and she kind of helped with structure, and she was like, let's talk about this and see where I can help out. Like, she just wanted to be a part of it, and I'm so proud of that. My cousin Amy and my best friend Maggie Farrell. Amy Tolley and Maggie Farrell. I guess I could say all of their names. But Amy is somebody that I want to be when I grow up. She is just so wonderful. She introduced me to my favorite author, and she talks to me about everything, about theology, about creativity, about spirit, about writing, about painting, about all of these things. We can't not have a good conversation. Every conversation is a good one, and I love that too. And Maggie Farrell is one of those friends that you can just sit down on a couch when you go to visit and you both have a book. And eventually one of you gets hungry and they're like, where's the pizza? Would you like some pizza? Like, yes. There's this comfortable silence that I can have with Maggie, and I just adore that. Like, I think that's just born from such a long time together. But we don't get to see each other that much anymore, but she's still like, that friendship is still so precious to me. And then I also have some work friends too who are believers and brainstormers, Kimberly De Lorenz and Lauren Farragut. Every Monday we have lunch and we talk about creative things and about writing, and it's fabulous. Rachel Floyd is a new believer and brainstormer, and I'm so excited to have her on our beta read team for Finders Keepers. And there's so many more things that I want to do with her. I just want to do all the things. She's so fabulous, and she's such a bright spirit. She's just fun and happy, and she is musical, and she's a writer, and she does all of these things that I just can't wait to see what we can do together too.
I love that. And I love your name too. I totally want to steal it. So,
It is kind of
it is cute. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my family and friends. So my husband's name is Tony, and both of our husbands have beards because beards are amazing. And he is incredibly supportive of me. I mean, that's a huge thing, guys. We couldn't do any of the stuff that we do if our husbands weren't so supportive and encouraging. You know, Tony also, he'll sit down with me and brainstorm things and help me think through things and kind of get my head right when I'm just not sure what to do. It's amazing. And then my two kiddos, are very encouraging with their creativity because they're both very creative kids, and so they kind of inspire me and motivate me from time to time as well.
for sure.
Yeah, my in-laws are, they're not huge readers. They don't write, but they are so encouraging and supportive, and they've been so just proud of everything that I've been doing, and they've shown their support in amazing ways. And then, of course, my sister Jane and my brother Justin have really helped a great deal with my first novel and just with so many other things. My brother Justin and I like to send things that we've written back and forth. And it's interesting because we write different things. You know, he does a lot of, I got to read his dissertation, which I'm not smart enough to really understand, I don't think, but I did get to read it and it was amazing. But he also writes some fiction stuff that I would love for him to have some more time to devote to because it's wonderful and I want to see where he can take it. And then just my church family. Northside Baptist has been amazing. They've really come around me and just lifted me up when my novel came out, which was something that was unexpected and I'm very thankful for.
Yes, along the family lines too. My father-in-law, who is no longer with us, his name is Clay Smith. My son is named after him, and I am so thankful for the time that I got with this wonderful man. He showed me that adults could dream too, that they could not only dream, but that they could create and recreate even after a lifetime of doing something else. And he got cancer, and it was such a hard thing to go through to see him not be able to create anymore. But to have the memories, though, of being able to be in his workshop and just spend hours looking through magazines and taking pieces and parts of inspiration from all of these places and just putting them together into this design that he thought would be really cool. And he always encouraged me. He's like, "You have all these ideas. Like, when are you, when is the time for you to do this?" And I kept putting it off and putting it off. And I think he'd be really proud of what we're doing today and the things, the direction that things are taking. And that's a really nice thought to have.
Oh, I love that. So, my people who are no longer with us are my grandparents, and they have been so instrumental in just a literary legacy that has gone throughout my entire family. They had 3 children, many, many grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. We might be on great-great-greats at this point. I'm not really sure. I think I've lost track. But lots and lots of people have come from them, and every single person, I believe, in our family loves books and literature, and it's really because of them. And some of my best memories are reading together with my grandma and grandpa. With my grandma, she always sent gifts of books, every Christmas or birthday. A lot of times she would send books. And she passed away earlier this year. My grandfather passed away when I was a senior in college. But I have some very special memories of sitting with him and talking about writing. He was an English major when he was in college. He wrote his memoirs, a book that I am so very thankful for. And we would talk about writing. And I was an English journalism double major, and so he loved to talk to me about what I was writing for class, and he would talk about things that he'd like to write. And I know that he wrote some fiction stuff, and I would love to find that. I don't know if that's out there anywhere, but I do have the letters that he and my grandmother wrote to one another, and I have that, and I'm gonna keep those safe and try to get that together to share with family. But yeah, I really miss them. But here's the thing: when my grandmother passed away, their biggest desire was to leave a little something for their grandchildren. And with that money, I was able to start my press, Logos and Mythos Press. So if you go to logosandmythospress.com, go to the About page, you can see a picture of my beautiful and amazing grandparents, Tom and Jane Kay, and you can read a little bit more about them because they have left an incredible literary legacy that I hope Logos and Mythos Press will continue through with their family.
Mm,
You
Joy,
all
that's
teary.
so special.
Sorry.
I know, it's so special.
Oh,
Oh, gratitude. It's a wonderful thing.
it is. It is.
My next one is Abby and Mel, and they are the co-hosts of Mom Writes podcast, and it's something that you totally need to listen to. Even if you're not a mom, you totally need to listen to it, okay? Because watching them overcome the obstacles in somewhat close to real time has been so encouraging for me. And their season 1 of the podcast is them writing their book with a book coach, like episode by episode. Is they write a section, their book coach gives them live comments on it. It
They
is
are brave.
just terrifying. Like, but it was so helpful for me, as encouraging. It helped my craft. It was just brilliant. It was just such a brilliant concept. So season 2 is they have written their book at the end of season 1. Season 2 is they're editing their book with a book coach. And again, just this place of vulnerability and truth and honesty that is just so hard. And so kudos to Abby and Mel. But at the beginning of all of this, we met each other in this Facebook group, and Abby and Mel were in Writer Mom Inc. And we met them there. They were saying, hey, we're launching this podcast. Would you like to listen to it or be a part of it? Like, if it's something that you're interested in, we can like practice together. And it was just a really generous offer. And so I responded. I think you responded too.
Mhm.
And so I practiced podcasting with my friends Abby and Mel, and we just hit it off, man. We just did, and they are just such wonderful people. And we kept talking to each other. We had like a Skype talk and all of this stuff too that was outside of the podcast. We are writing and we're sharing these craft tips. And man, my appendix, I got my appendix taken out, and Abby sent me flowers. I mean, this is just, I just love these two people. And I feel like we're like bosom buddies. Like we're totally Anne of Green Gables, situation here. And I don't know if I've ever felt like so connected with somebody that I've never met in person before, because this is all digital. It's all on the internet, right? So I have never wanted to meet people in person more than I've wanted to meet Abby and Mel in person. So that's like on my bucket list. Like, Abby, Mel, I'm just letting you know right now that eventually, before I die, I would like to see your beautiful faces with my own eyes, like in person. Also, Abby and Mel invited Joy and me to be a part of a special writers group called the Ninjas. So I would be ninja-less
That's
without
true.
Abby and Mel. But I also want to say a thank you to all of the lovely people in that group as well. It's kind
Yes,
of secret, so I don't know if I'm supposed to say names, so I'm not going to say
I know.
names, but you
I know.
know who you are.
You do. You awesome ninjas, you. It is a great group. So another group, and you actually mentioned them, are Writer Moms Inc.
Yeah.
And I love Writer Moms Inc. So started by the incredible dynamic duo of Autumn Lindsay and Everly Reed. They are so amazingly supportive and encouraging and super inspirational. And so they've started this amazing group, which just hit 1,000 members in the Facebook group, which is pretty incredible. Guys, this place is great because you'll have one post where, it's like the kid won't stop crying all day, I've gotten no words down, and the next post, hey, I just published my 5th book. It's just such a great place to be because everyone is incredibly supportive of one another and encouraging. There's no, bashing anyone, or there's nothing like that in this group. It's amazing. And then there are 2 other writer moms who just really mean the world to me, and those are Michelle Keener and Rachel Ritchie. And Michelle, her books are incredible. We write similar, some of the themes and the storylines and the just the way that we kind of put our faith into our fiction. It's very similar, and it's been encouraging to see that there's someone else like that out there, because I felt for a while like maybe I was a little too different, and I wanted to find someone else who did things a little of the same way, and I have found that in Michelle, and she's just an incredible person. And then Rachel's who I would like to be when I grow up. She's just amazing. She does all the things. She has a wonderful fantasy series out, and then she is a cover designer. She is my cover designer, and our cover designer.
She's our cover designer.
Exactly. She has got crazy mad skills, and so I'm just so thankful for meeting all of these writer moms.
I have a Rachel too
You
on
have
my
a
list.
Rachel? Oh,
I do.
tell
Her
us.
name is Rachel Heron,
Oh,
and
yay.
she is a hybrid author. So she has traditionally published books, and she also has self-published books, and they are all wonderful, wonderful books. She has 2 podcasts also. She has How Do You Write? So if you're interested in process and how do you write, I highly recommend that podcast. And also she co-hosts a podcast called The Writer's Well with Jay Thorne. And both of those are like my podcast habits. Like, I listen to those a lot. So like right up there with the Creative Pen. Like, those are my 3. Beyond her wonderful, wonderful books, last January I sent Rachel a gushing fan mail / question email. And I really did want to, like, I wanted to know something. I wanted to know something about podcasting as we were thinking about starting this podcast. We were trying to get those like technical things down, but I took that as an opportunity to just gush all over the girl. The whole email, and I'm talking like this, like a page of email, like all but the last 3 sentences, the last 3 lines or something, were how her creative work has affected me. So I didn't really expect an answer. I just was really happy to get that off my chest because I've been wanting to say it for a really long time. And she did answer, and it was lovely. And evidently she needed to hear the things that I had to say at that point in time because she had had a really stressful day. So it all worked out. And I also got podcast answers, which was wonderful. And
Thank you, Rachel.
yes, thank you, Rachel. This happened partially because of you. Be it good or bad, it happened. But she was just so lovely and helpful and patient, and I enjoy her very much.
All right, so next I want to thank all the authors. I know that sounds crazy, but I just mean it. All the authors who have gone before, because you know what? We're standing on their shoulders. Our publishing industry looks completely different today than it did, 100, 200 years ago. And a lot of it is because of the incredible authors who have paved the way. But also beyond that are the writers who I grew up reading. Okay, their words filled me with these little nuggets of imagination and of wondering and of creativity that have come to be now in the works that I produce. And I think that that is a pretty incredible thing because their words have done that for so many writers. And I'm thinking about Tolkien and Lewis. I'm thinking about John Bunyan, Lucy Maud Montgomery. We mentioned Anne of Green Gables earlier, the Brontes, and Laura Ingalls Wilder. I think that those were probably the authors that inspired me the most as I was growing up. And so I will forever be thankful for their words and how they've inspired me.
To piggyback your all the writers of the world, I have an author too that I would love to thank, Miss Maggie Stiefvater. She is the writer who helped me see the passion of writing. I thought that I wanted to write before. I wasn't really sure what the motivation was behind that. But after I read Maggie Stiefvater, not only her books, but also her blog, I just felt the passion for it and how it had the ability to potentially change my life. And that was a huge deal at that particular time. It's something that I needed in my life at that moment. I was not in a healthy place, and writing helped me get healthier. I was able to write because of some of the things that Maggie Stiefvater, how she lived her life and how she wrote, and not in nonfiction and in fiction. And so I consider her like my internet mentor, or her just a mentor in general. It doesn't even have to be on the internet. She doesn't know it, but her books and her blog posts that are tagged butt kicking, if you can find those anywhere, I don't think she has them anymore. She might have some of them on her new blog, which we will put in the show notes, but the tag butt kicking was just eye-opening to me. I had been so tender and gentle and fearful with myself, and she was just so honest and blunt, and it's something that I needed. And she had this TED Talk too that talked about like how sometimes children are put into boxes and labels and that sort of thing, and how that's kind of detrimental. And I saw that as an adult, how that had been detrimental to me. And also just glimpses in her life on social media, like all of those things. What 4 things? Books, blog posts, TED Talks, and social media. So those 4 things, they help me to understand 2 main points. The first one is that if you want to write, do it. Stop thinking about all of the ways that you can figure out ways that you can't write. Stop that, and figure out ways that you can write. all of the time that you take on thinking about this negative, the negativity of how you wish that you had X, Y, and Z, and how you can't seem to find the time. If you took the time that you came up with, like creating these excuses, and actually wrote during that time, you'd probably have a book by now. So that's kind of where that's what I got. That was the message that I received from those. The next thing that really hit home from her was that there are no limitations, there are no boxes if you don't want there to be. And that was so huge for me. So I had never thought that you could cross those boundaries, cross those lines. I'd kind of been brought up in this really strict arena. She helped me discover that, it's okay. You can be goth and you can bake. And you can be a mother and you can street race and you can wear Ray-Bans and you can play the Scottish bagpipes. Like, boundaries that label us are just a social construct, and we choose to assimilate them into our lives or not. And I learned that from my friend who doesn't know me, Maggie Stiefvater.
I have one more person to thank, and she's a very special someone, and I happen to be looking at her. And it's you! It's you, May. So, oh my goodness, thank you for just being so incredible, for encouraging me, for being the Lewis to my Tolkien, for just, you have taught me so much. Like, I don't think you realize just how much I've learned from you over the past few years. You are my writing right hand. You're my co-dreamer in this crazy journey of ours. You're so many things, but best of all, you're my friend. But yes, thank you. You're pretty amazing.
Wow. You're welcome. I'm working on trying to figure out how to accept compliments. All of those things just seem so outside of the realm of possibilities. And I am kind of geeked that somebody thinks that way about me. So thank you. I have a few things to say about you as well. Without joy, all of this would be a quiet dream. And we met back in 2016, and all of a sudden it just exploded. Everything just exploded in such good ways. And I needed you, and God knew I needed you. And I'm so thankful to have you in my life. I am in awe of your tenacity to do and to do again until something works, to work hard with humor and to find joy in the long hours and to be kind through all of it. And you are just so strong and so persistent, and I envy that.
Aww.
So much.
Thank you. That was very sweet. Oh, good. No more tears. No tears. It's time for the QWERTY challenge.
All right, Glory, tell us what our QWERTY challenge is this week.
All right, so here's what we've got for you guys. We want you to make a list of your mentors or encouragers, the people who've inspired you or pushed you in your creative endeavors along the way. Now, do something for each one of them, okay? Maybe you're going to write a thank you note, an old school pen and paper. You got to find this thing that you stick on an envelope and you put it in a box kind of thing, okay? We don't do a whole lot of that anymore. Maybe you actually write a letter. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone call, maybe you go visit them. Whatever it is, let them know that they're appreciated. Tell them what impact they've made on you. They may not even know. Some may no longer be with you too, so there is that. But perhaps there's something you can do for them in their memory or their honor. It could be something as simple as writing down a memory of something that you did with them. Or you could tell someone about that person. And we're happy to listen. We'd love to hear about that person. Drop us a line. Let us know. And then for your other people, do something to thank them this week. Let them know what kind of an impact they've made and how they have helped you get where you are today. I think that they would probably appreciate that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go forth and create something.
Yes.
So, have a wonderful week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening until the end.
Seriously, you're a trooper.
Do you think QWERTY Writing Life is the bomb?
May, you just said the bomb.
Don't you censor me.
If you think QWERTY Writing Life rocks ice for real,
Oh my word.
please rate, review, and share us with others.
If you have questions about this week's episode or want to start a conversation, you can reach us by visiting QWERTYWritingLife.podbean.com.
We'll be back next week with more candid chats for you.